it's Roy Cannaday from Epic Gaming Night, and this is my top 100 games. I'm super excited to share with you my top 10 games of all time. These are games that I'm super passionate about, and hopefully I can convey why I love these games so much and why I think you should check them out. So without further ado, let's get to my top 10. My number 10 is Blood Rage. This is the game of Viking combat where you're trying to gain glory for your clan. At the beginning of each round, you're going to be drafting different cards, whether it be monsters or different attack cards or quests or cool little things to pimp out your clan so that way you can do all sorts of different exciting things. I love the drafting in this game, and you draft all the cards and then you're trying to figure out how to use those cards on the board and make the situations happen so you can win combats and upgrade your different stats so that you can put more guys on the board, or you can get more actions, or you get more points for combat. There's lots of exciting things in Blood Rage that I really enjoy, and I love the whole like quest thing where you're trying to sneak in there and they don't know exactly what you're trying to do, but you're trying to make it so that your clan can take over the different provinces and get extra points. There's lots of play back and forth and lots of interaction as you're trying to hate draft from other players, and one of the main things I love about this is the whole Loki strategy where you can try to kill off your own units to get extra points and steal rage from other players. And there's all sorts of different ways and combos you can make in this game to play the game the way that you want to, whether it be to spam more units out on the board faster, get huge monsters. The miniatures are amazing, and the thing comes across great with this Norse mythology as you're sending your different Vikings to Valhalla and getting points for that and having them die off in Ragnarok. We've had tons and tons of fun playing this game, and that's why it's one of my top 10. I love Blood Rage, and you guys should definitely check it out, and that's why it's my number 10. My number 9 is Battlelore 2nd Edition. This is like a fantasy miniatures game, but put into a board game. So you get to choose your units and choose like your terrain on the board as you're putting out different cards. I love the mechanic for setting up your armies and taking the different points and figuring out exactly who you want to use based on the scenario. I love how there's 2 different cards that come together for the scenario depending on your faction, and that creates the terrain for the board, and then you get to choose your units. And I love how this is in the command and colors line, so you've got those choices with your command cards. You can't always do exactly whatever you want and move every single unit you want, but you have to figure out what you can use based on your command cards, whether it be right, left, or center flank. You're trying to hold different objectives and complete different things on your scenario card to get lots of victory points. I've had a ton of fun playing this game. It's a great 2-player game when you're going back and forth against your opponent, trying to take different things. I love fantasy, and this is fun having the humans and then the Athuculon and then the undead guys all running around clashing against each other, and it's cool to see the different units you can play. I've got everything that's out for this game so far, and it's a lot of fun to play when I have just one other opponent to play against. So if you're looking for a fantasy type game, definitely check out Battlelore. It's my number 9, and it's amazing. My number 8 is Marvel Legendary. I love superheroes, and it's cool to be able to build different teams in this deck building game and work together to take out the mastermind. I've had tons and tons of fun playing this game, and this is one of my go-to games that I always pull off the shelf when I'm not sure what to play. I've had a ton of fun trying to figure out different teams, and we just splay out all the heroes all over the table and are like, okay, we're gonna play with this character this time, and almost anybody you can think of from the Marvel Universe is in here. Whether it's X-Men or Fantastic Four or Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain America characters, Iron Man characters, people from all over the Marvel Universe, everywhere is in this game, and it's fun to build those teams together and work together to take out the mastermind. We play this game completely cooperative, even though there are semi-cooperative as well rules, but we play against a lot of the really tough masterminds, so you really have to work together to make it happen. And I always treat the game where you're doing like the Legolas and Gimli thing, where it's like, okay, you might have got the most points, and that shows that you did the best. You're just counting heads of the different guys that you take out. It's a ton of fun trying to work together and build up your combos. You're looking at your hand, figuring out which characters you want to try to get, and it's amazing all the different variety that is in this game. It definitely makes you feel accomplished when you've played out your whole hand, drawn a ton of cards, played out a bunch of things, take out a couple of villains, take out the mastermind, and can do a lot of work for the team. And this is definitely a great cooperative game, and that's why it's my number 8, and that's Marvel Legendary. My number 7 is Dune / Rex. I grew up playing the old Dune board game with my dad, and we would have a bunch of friends over, we'd watch the Dune movies, and then we'd play the board game and get into the different characters. But I really enjoy what Fantasy Flight has done redoing it in Rex, and I know sometimes it's controversial for different people, but I really enjoy how they've shortened the game up a little bit and put it in the Twilight Imperium universe. It's definitely exciting to play all the different races, and I'm a big fan of the variety in games, so the fact that everybody has an asymmetrical power and they play off different things. I love the fact that it's like area control, you're trying to figure out how to get the things, but then the alliances are very important in this game. There's only certain times when you can actually ally with someone, and you can't break that alliance until the ally card comes up again. It's a temporary ceasefire, and if you make yourself in an alliance, you better make sure that your allies are strong enough to be able to help you out, because if they end up getting weak or taken out, you're gonna have to wait till the card comes up to break that alliance. I love the bidding combat in this game, as you know exactly how many units you have and know how many units they have, you know what leaders they have, but you're not exactly sure what weapons they're gonna use. The weapons are kind of like this paper, rock, scissors mechanic where you're trying to figure out if they play this, then I should play this to defend, and we knew they played that weapon last time, so we know they have it. So since I know they have it, are they gonna play it? Are they not gonna play it? It's definitely very tense and exciting. And then after all of that, there's these trader cards in the game, which add a huge tense like moments to the game. And I love when there's this huge like epic battle and like you're trying to figure all the things out, and it ends up that you have their trader or they have your trader, and you play the card and you wipe out all their units and you get to keep all of yours. It's very exciting and very interesting the way the combat works, but I also love like all the rest of the parts of this game, like bidding for the different item cards and trying to work with your allies and your teammates to win the game together, or stab them in the back and betray them and become part of a different alliance. It's a lot of fun, and it feels very much like the Dune license feels great on it, but I also think it still works with Twilight Imperium with the whole taking over Mechatol Rex as well. So my number 7 is Rex / Dune. My number 6 is Spectre Ops. This is a hidden movement game where you're trying to, one player is the agent and they're trying to go in and complete different objectives around the map. And the other players are hunters and they're trying to find that agent and take them out. I think this game's super exciting the way that there's all sorts of different powers for different agents and different hunters, and the agents can have cool little equipment to try to like mess up the hunters, and the hunters have to work together. They're driving around in a car and jumping out and trying to find the agent who's running around trying to steal their technology and stuff like that. It's super interesting that this is in like the Raxxon Dead of Winter universe way in the future, so you have that whole tie-in with Dead of Winter, but it's still the same sort of company, but it's like super in the future, and I find that sort of intriguing as well. I love how puzzly this game can be sometimes. As you're being the hunters, you're trying to work out, well, if they were here last turn, and they could move 4 steps and they moved here, so they could be here, 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 and you walk over here and you see that they're not there, so that leaves that this is the last place they could be. There's a lot of great teamwork with the hunters, and then as the agent, it's a ton of fun to just sit there and try to like hide and like sneak around the facility. Maybe you don't move a turn so that way they can't use the motion detector on the car to find you. There's lots of exciting things about this game, and I love Spectre Ops and hidden movement, and I think this is the best hidden movement game of them all. So that's why my number 6 is Spectre Ops. My number 5 is Time Stories. This is a time-traveling game that has theme in spades. There's tons of awesome narrative as you're working together as a team. For the time agency, they send you to a specific location, giving you vague hints of what you're supposed to be trying to do, and then you're running around trying to get information from all the different people you encounter and the different items you find, and you're unraveling clues to the mystery of what's going on in this specific time. They're sending you back to Egypt, they're sending you to an asylum, they're sending you all over the place, like fantasy, alternate worlds, like all sorts of exciting things in this game. There's tons of different themes that they put on this, and they can really go anywhere with Time Stories. It's been super exciting to play through the different scenarios cooperatively with my friends, trying to figure out the puzzles and what's going on. I love Time Stories. The narrative is like second to none in this game. So if you love games with puzzly type stuff and great narrative, Time Stories is amazing. I actually really enjoy the fact that you have to go back in time, like the time runs out and you have to go back and redo things and try to like do it better and save more time, and you're like, okay, I gotta go here and go there. And I've had tons of great experiences with my friends trying to work out. When we go back in time, we like talk about it and be like, okay, we should go here first and then go there. What do you think about here? Hey, where was that one item? Oh, it's over there. And you work together going through this narrative that just feels like a crazy choose your own adventure, but there's all sorts of puzzles and things as well that's amazing. So make sure to check out Time Stories, my number 5. My number 4 is my very favorite cooperative game. I'm a huge fan of co-ops. It's also my favorite Lovecraftian game, and that is Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition. This game uses an application to help guide you through the mansion. They put tons of narrative and theme into that app, and it kind of manages all of the fiddly stuff in the game. And it makes it so you don't have to have a huge sprawling board like you did in 1st edition. It keeps it smaller, and then it builds as you go along, and you never quite know what's around the corner. But not only that, there's random maps that you'll get different times when you play through the game. So I've played through this game multiple times in the same scenario, and one time I'll walk through the door and it'll be one room, and then it'll be like a different room on the next when I was like, oh, I thought it was this map setup. Oh man, that's a little bit different. There's different monsters that spawn all over the place. There's tons of like Lovecraftian feel in a game. If you're looking for a game that gives you that feel of Lovecraftian dread and horror, Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition does that great. I love how some of the stories feel like they're directly ripped out of some of the Lovecraft stories, and it feels like you're playing through the different short stories that Lovecraft wrote. I'm super excited to see more and more for this game. I already have everything that's out there for it, and I'm definitely excited to play more of the scenarios. So that's why Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition is my number 4. My number 3 is Xia Legends of a Drift System. This is a sandbox space game where you can kind of choose exactly what you want to do. You start out with a humble like spaceship that's just this old piece of junk, and you're trying to figure out how to make your way in the verse as you're exploring different areas, and the board's expanding and all the different players are trying to figure out the best way for them to make points. This game is very much like risk management. It's like, okay, I can go to the asteroid and mine some stuff, but I might blow up, so I need to make sure I have shields first, and just trying to figure out exactly the best way and the most efficient way to get credits so you can upgrade your ship, you can go on crazy missions. And the thing I love about this game the most is you can really play the game you want, like however you want. If you want to be a pirate, you can be a pirate. If you want to go explore, you can explore. If you want to be a merchant, you can be a merchant. And all of those paths are viable, and the most viable path is just to be very like flexible with your strategy and just like explore some, be a merchant some, go over there, blast your friend when he's got his ship's almost gone, pick up his goods, run back to a planet, sell those off, upgrade your ship, become a merchant again, go sell some stuff, go fight like the police and try to take out the scoundrel, and maybe the merchant's almost dead because your friend's been shooting at him a bunch, go over there and grab the, like take out the merchant and get the credits when your friend was just about to get it. There's lots of awesome stuff in this game, and you can just play this game however you want. Lots of pick up and deliver, and lots of randomness with the dice, but it's all about like assessing the risk of the different like actions you're gonna take. So it's super fun for me to try to see the board and see exactly where I should go, and like playing this game with other players is a lot of fun too. You definitely want to keep it at a low player count because you can definitely in the later game do lots of things on your turn once you've upgraded your ship to this awesome beast that's flying around the whole verse. But I love Xia, and it's a ton of fun, and I'm super excited to play even more with the expansion. So that's why my number 3 is Xia Legends of a Drift System. My number 2 is War of the Ring. This is an asymmetrical war game where one player is playing the Fellowship and the other player is playing the Shadow, and your objectives for the game are completely different. This feels like Lord of the Rings in a box, as one player is playing the Fellowship trying to sneak into Mordor and trying to just hold on with their different units and trying to get all the different races to help you on the political track, because in the books of Lord of the Rings, the different alliances didn't want to join the battle. They thought there was no hope, and you had to try to talk them into helping you out. And then the Shadow player is building up massive armies, and as they break through your lines, all the Free Peoples are like, oh man, we really need to fight back and take over the Dark Power. There's tons and tons of theme in this game. I love the dice action mechanic that you have. You roll the dice and you see what actions you're going to be able to play, and the dice kind of determine sort of what you need to be doing in this game, but it can help you to like focus on different things. So it's like, okay, I have a bunch of character dice, let me try to play some of these character cards, let me move the Fellowship along, knowing when to like not press your luck too far, moving the Fellowship too fast as the Sauron player searches more and more for the ring. There's lots and lots of theme. I love playing the Fellowship because they're like totally like under the gun at the very beginning, and it's super hard to hold down your fortresses as there's just walls and walls of orcs and urukai. I love all the different leaders you can upgrade in this game. I have both the expansions for it, and they add all sorts of different factions and different leaders you can add, lots of extra dice, lots of extra minis, and it makes this game just feel so much like Lord of the Rings. It is a great two-player war game that feels completely different depending on whether you're playing Shadow or whether you're playing Fellowship. So if you love Lord of the Rings and you need a two-player game, it's definitely long, but I think it's worth the time. Check out War of the Ring, my number 2. As you can probably tell, I love huge, sprawling, thematic games. I love games that feel epic and take a long time to play. And there's very few games that feel as epic or take as long as my number 1, and that is Twilight Imperium 3rd Edition. This is a giant space opera where everybody's playing a completely different race, and you're trying to take over different areas to complete different objectives. It's a 4X game where you're exploring, expanding, exploiting, and exterminating your opponents. You're trying to complete these objectives, you're taking different strategy cards. I love the fact that you can build all sorts of different units. There's tons of little plastic pieces, and you're building the units the way you want to. I love the interaction in this game as you're trying to outthink your opponents, as you're getting strategy cards, as you're trying to negotiate with your opponents on where to attack and not attack, and these planets are mine, don't come across this line, I've got this place covered, and I'm going this way, you should go that way, oh my goodness, they're winning, they got the most points, go attack that player. There's lots of like talking back and forth, and the political phase is awesome as well. As you're voting through different laws, depending on how many planets you have, you get certain amounts of votes, and sometimes your race can help you with different things. There's lots of different alien races which give you completely different powers, lots of action cards which you throw down. This game is huge and sprawling, and I can't, like, every time I play this game, I can't go to sleep at night because I'm too busy thinking about how awesome and epic like the game we just played was. And I think about, oh man, next time I really want to do this, or oh man, it's gonna be awesome like the next time we play, I hope I get that race, and oh man, remember when he like stabbed me in the back over there and did that, and oh man, we really worked together over here to like take that guy down and do the different things. And there's so much exciting things going on in Twilight Imperium 3. I'm a huge fan of games with varieties of powers, games that when you're done playing the game, you never forget the stories that were made as you played it. And in Twilight Imperium 3, the galactic conquest that you make as you're going out there, the huge stories that come out of this game from just the interaction with the other players. I love how the turns are actually, for a long game, the turns are actually pretty snappy and quick. It's like you do this action, you move some guys, okay, you go, and oh, you just did your action, okay, we'll do that, everybody go around the table. Okay, you got a technology, I'm gonna get technology too. Okay, you're trading, okay, hey, you trade with me, I'll trade with you. There's lots of talking back and forth around the table, and it feels like there's very little downtime in this game. This game can take like anywhere from like 4 or 5 hours to like 10 to 12 hours, depending on how many players you're playing with and how experienced the players are. But the time doesn't feel like it's nearly that long. Every time I get done, I'm like, look at my watch, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this has been a very long game, but it didn't feel like it. I was engaged every moment of it, and we had amazing stories to tell after it was done. And that is why I love Twilight Imperium 3, and it is my all-time favorite game, and I'm super excited to play Twilight Imperium 3 more. It's the kind of game you really have to schedule to get to the table, but I totally think it's worth scheduling and making happen, and that's why my #1 game of all time is Twilight Imperium 3. So that's my top 100 games. Let me know in the comments down below if you made it through the entire list of my top 100, and let me know what your favorite games are as well. Thanks so much to Tom and the Dice Tower crew for letting me share my top 100 list with you guys. I do a lot of reviews and stuff on the Dice Tower, so hopefully this will help you know more about me and my tastes so you can determine how my reviews look based on what I like, to know if that will line up more with the games that you like as well. I also do Favorite Game Friday and Throat Punch Lunch. Make sure to check those out if you like my kind of content, and also make sure to check out my podcast. I do it, it's called Epic Gaming Night. We talk about the stories and relationships that board games create. We have a lot of fun and banter back and forth with my co-hosts, so make sure to check out that as well. And you guys are amazing. Thank you for checking out my top 10 games, and hopefully this has inspired you to play some more epic and story-driven thematic games. So until next time, I'll see you then.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.